Hey guys, I know kind of a different look for us here. TexAgs Rewind here in the studio. Kind of dressed up today because we're going to be shooting our other show up to the second college football. So hopefully you're watching that one. Nobody to pick on this segment, so I'll just pick on myself. We had a good show today. What we learned about the Aggies over the weekend, Obi and I kind of went into length about that. Jamie McCoy breaking it all down with us as well. Andrew Monaco came in studio. Always love when the voice of the Aggies stops by the show, and got a little analysis about Colorado. We got to learn their style a little bit more about their running game and their new quarterback, all that and more here on TexAgs Rewind. Watching that game Saturday, all those thoughts and those expectations that I was hoping to see were answered for me when it comes to Caleb Chapman, OB.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're always going to hold your breath and hope that he doesn't get hurt.
Yep.
But I've seen guys, Courtney Davis had, 2 years in a row had knee problems and then came back and had a really good career. And I think he might be on an NFL roster now. There's no reason to believe that Caleb can't do that. But, when someone has an injury issue, you're going to hope he's all right. But man, he showed the speed. He's great hands. I mean, he's big target, all the things you're looking for, right?
Yeah, he is.
And he's so productive.
What did you learn? Anything stand out to you?
Well, I learned that what we all suspected, that Haynes can make plays off schedule. With that 14-yard scramble on 3rd and 10. And, he was really good on 3rd down.
Yep.
I think I counted, sometimes I might get it wrong, but I think I counted that he had that he converted 6 of 7 on 3rd down with passes. I think he was 6 of 7 on 3rd down passing. Mm-hmm. And then he had the one run, something like that, close. If it wasn't that, it was close to that.
Close to that.
So he was really good on 3rd down. And I think we also learned that the freshmen, Bryce Foster and Shamar Turner, are ready to make an immediate impact.
Haynes obviously playing at this level. You got Bryce Foster, a true freshman, playing at this level. Shamar Turner. Like when you have youngsters, how long is that growth? Does it take a couple of games under your belt? Does it take a full season? I know there's an individual variance there, but just ballpark it.
I'd say 3 to 6 games because, all the guys who are playing in college, you used to be in the man in high school. But it's definitely a tick up in speed at the college level. And once you get out there, you could be going to 1s versus 1s in practice all day. You get to see the speed and kind of feel it, but you don't really know that game environment, crowds yelling, the pressure's kind of intensified a little bit. So I'd say 3 to 6 games just for the fact of those first couple of games, you're getting your feet wet, you're looking around, you're kind of enamored with the crowd and whatnot or on the road situations. But then as you start saying, hey, what's my assignment? What's my alignment? You start to go back to, okay, let me dominate this guy, and then the rest is going to take care of itself. So you kind of get the speed, and then you're like, okay, let me go back to being who I know I could be.
And there is a difference, right, with the game speed. People always talk about it, but you may practice against 5-stars all day at practice, but when you go to the game, it's a different level of intensity and emotion that gets the best of you.
Oh, absolutely. Like I always tell my kids that I train, the lights get bright out there, and people rise to the top. You get out there and you thrown in a different situation where, like I said, there's more pressure. If I don't do my assignment this correct way, like I've been taught, and I just go off and try to make a play, I could be the reason the run goes for 60, you know what I mean? So it definitely intensifies.
Jamie McCoy here with us on the BCSI hotline. All right, let's talk about these turnovers because they're top of mind here. How concerned were you, and how do you fix them? Because some of them were self-induced, obviously, and some of them not.
Yeah. I think you fix them just by I'm sure Jimbo went back and has been in his ear asking him, normally in those situations, you ask your quarterback, what were you seeing here? What were you thinking? Why did you do this? And I think on both of those turnovers, it was Haynes trying to force the situation or just kind of push it. And sometimes, some cases, you don't always have to get the first down. You can check it down to a back. And we got backs good enough with Anais, Chain, and Isaiah that they make one guy miss. That could be the 7-8 yards you need for a first down. And one of those that it was, I think, 25-yard line or so, live to play another play. You don't necessarily have to get that catch. If it's not there, throw it away. There's nothing wrong with taking another play or letting your kicker, Seth Small, come in and put 3 on the board. You know, you want to take what they give you is another one.
I got to imagine, I know you and Dalton were talking a little bit about it, but for your point of view, that atmosphere on Saturday, after what we've gone through the last year and a half and change, to be able to have 97,000 people there helping you with your broadcast must have been amazing.
Yeah, you realize how much you missed it last year. As fun as it was and as great as the 12th man was at 25%, it was just wonderful to have everybody back. To feel that press box swaying, that was wonderful. And I had a feeling during the run out when the team got introduced, and that was sway number 1. It was fantastic. Good to be back. Missed it. Nice to be back in that atmosphere again.
We were talking a little bit at the break, too, how everybody wants the immediacy. We want to be up 30-0 in the first quarter. We want to see the refined product by week 3, by week 4. You're expressing to me like you have the ability to see this team grow, and you've seen it from the beginning of camp to where we are now.
Yeah, we never knew that Bryce Foster, a true freshman, was going to be the center. Right. We forget that Bryce has never, in a game day, run down that tunnel and onto that field in that atmosphere. That's a moment. That's one he's never going to forget, but you have to stay in that moment. That combined with, you know what, there's a couple guys maybe in a new role. Okay. The confidence for them to play in that new role. I call it the I belong moment.
Right.
I think there's a part in all athlete. You know what? Even in a job, you sit down, you're comfortable, and you say, I belong. That's what was happening, I think, in that first half. And then to see the number of young players come in, and if you did not have a roster, you would not say, boy, number 7 on defense, Tyreek Chappelle, he's a freshman. Never would have known it. Deuce Harmon, he's a freshman. Shamar Turner, you never would have known it because they played. They look like they belong. That's the excitement. That's week 1. I can't wait to see that development as this team gets deeper and stronger as the season goes on.
Are you excited about what this game means to Colorado?
Yeah, it should be a fun one. It's too bad last year didn't end up happening because I think we were both excited for the home and return trips. But I'm glad that these teams get to meet up again in Denver, and that it's a pretty big venue for a pretty big game. And like you said, there's some history there. Not as contentious as some other Big 12 folks, but definitely there's going to be some fun memories for both teams coming up again on Saturday.
How do you expect the environment to be? Obviously, not playing in Boulder. I'm not sure how Buff fans travel. Not a long commute or anything, but just curious about the atmosphere you expect to see there. And I'm hearing a lot of Aggies are traveling there to Denver.
Yeah, I would bet there's going to be quite a few Aggies. And the other thing is that this ticket was like an extra on top of the normal season ticket package for CU fans. So I would expect there's going to be some dropped off there that was picked up by some Aggie faithful. I would bet Texas A&M travels pretty heavily. I still think there's going to be a majority of Buff fans. Probably I would guess they bring 40 to 50K, but the rest, there's a big stadium, like I said. So plenty of room for Aggies to jump in there as well.
So talk to me a little bit about Coach Durrell and how he has changed things there in Boulder.
Yeah. So Durrell last year was our 3rd coach in 3 years. Definitely a lot of changes recently. And this is finally, he got a spring football and a fall camp this year to really show us what his situation is going to be. Durrell is pretty much a known commodity at this point. He's at UCLA for 5 years. That was his prior head coaching gig before he got CU. And he was fired there after getting 5 straight bowl games, but nothing really past the 7-5 level. And if he does that again in Boulder this time around, he'll be that's heroic, different situation. Definitely a steady Eddie, really conservative, calm type, which is really good after this team had a lot of unstable foundations.
I covered him a little bit when he was the quarterbacks coach, I believe, at the Texans back in 2011 or 12, somewhere around there. Was he kind of a surprise hire when Colorado did bring him on?
Definitely. It didn't help that CU was so late in the cycle that there wasn't a lot to go around. Because Mel Tucker left, I believe, a week after signing day or a few days after signing day. But he was not on anyone's candidate list, really. Just so happened, I guess, he has a house in the area. And, no one really thought about him, but he coached at CU before and is familiar with the Colorado, landscape. So he came in, interviewed well, and he got the job. But he definitely wasn't anyone's wasn't on anyone's hot boards or hot lists, when that job first became open.
All right, guys, you know the drill. Comment, like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. We'll have a lot more for you throughout the week as we get closer to that Colorado game. Thanks so much for watching TexAgs Rewind.